Proethica is a web-based system that helps professional ethics committees analyze ethical scenarios. The system organizes domain knowledge using a 9-component ontological framework derived from computational ethics literature. Ethics committee members can analyze cases where the system identifies relevant precedents and applicable codes, then generates arguments for and against each decision option with citations to supporting materials. The system organizes this knowledge at 3 levels. Proethica Core contains base classes for ethical concepts. The intermediate layer bridges abstract concepts to professional contexts by defining how roles, obligations, and principles and their related classes interact across different professions. The domain-specific layer encodes engineering codes of ethics, board precedents, and engineering-specific obligations. This architecture builds on McLaren's extensional principle definition and Baraby's modular framework. Here's a closer look at the Proethica intermediate ontology. This layer bridges the formal Proethica core concepts with domain-specific ethical knowledge extracted from the National Society of Professional Engineers Code of Ethics. It organizes professional concepts into a 9-component framework showing how roles, principles, obligations, and other components are formally represented and connected through hierarchical relationships. Drilling down further, we can see a visual representation of the ways that different components are interconnected. Here we're back at the home page. The system is designed to accommodate multiple professional roles, but the example we are using here is engineering ethics. Viewing the domain allows us to see the ethical guidelines that are associated with this profession. To keep the example simple, this experiment uses the Code of Ethics from the National Society of Professional Engineers. The system processes uploaded documents to extract ethical concepts. Language models identify and tag all 9 Proethica concepts within the text using definitions retrieved from the ontology. Each mention of the core concept found in the text is identified and annotated along with the corresponding output of the language model that made the association. Now that the ethical guidelines are annotated, case analysis can begin with the importing of cases into the case base. These cases have been directly retrieved from the NSPE website and retain their structure and labels on import. If a new domain was added, the system would require an example structured representation of that case in order to similarly import the segments in the case that have meaningful elements. The case is then annotated with the components extracted from the ethical guidelines document to identify relevant context. The system will then generate a scenario based on the facts of the case. Currently, existing cases are used to generate scenarios, but future work will allow practitioners to develop their own scenarios. The scenario contains the participants, a timeline, and the extracted events and actions. When analyzing scenarios, the system retrieves relevant case definitions, relationships, precedents, and ethical guideline references to frame pros and cons for each decision option.